The purpose of having an atomic model is to help us visualize how atoms are, which therefore allows us to have a better understanding of them. In Dalton's atomic model, Dalton, an English chemist, proposed and executed a series of experiments which would result in him coming up with a theory of atomic compositions, which would later be known as Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton came up with this theory as a result of his research into gases. In the course of this research, he discovered that certain gases could only be combined in certain proportions. He bombarded a thin sheet of gold foil, only a few atoms thick, placed in a vacuum with alpha rays. He concluded with the atom being neutral overall, the atom being made up of a positive nucleus consisting of protons, and the nucleus being surrounded by a cloud of orbiting electrons. Bohr's atomic model. He proposed electrons orbit at a set distance around the nucleus. The energy difference between the initial and final orbit is emitted by the atom in bundles of electromagnetic radiation. He proposed this model in 1913, and it was really just an expansion or a better model from the flawed